Book of Heaven, Volume 31, September 4th, 1932. The requital, need of the divine love, the divine will operating, continuation of creation. I am always in the sea of the divine volition, which makes the whole creation present to me. What an immense theater, in which there are scenes so moving that reveal in clear notes the great love of God toward the creatures, and that captivate the heart to love Him. And I was thinking of the great human ingratitude that does not let itself be captivated to love Him. And my sweet Jesus, surprising me with His heart swollen with love, told me,
"My good daughter, creation was made by our Supreme Being in order to give love and to receive the requital of the love of the creatures. There is not one thing created by us for which this was not our purpose, to make it in order to receive the requital. Otherwise, our works would not have been communicative, fruitful, nourishing works, and full of life to make man happy. They would have been like painted works, which at the most can attract the sight, but which would do good to no one. On the other hand, by wanting the requital, we placed the communication of the light as though on the way, to give to the creature the life of light, and air to give her the life of respiration, and water, food, fire, to give her the life and the good that they possess, and so with all the rest. How many acts of life we placed around the creature in order to grow, nourish, and sustain her life. Now, wanting requital for them was a need of our love. Works without requital are works without cortege, without appreciation. And as much as creatures make use of them, they remain isolated works, as if they were not welcome. The requital does not take the work only to make use of it, but enters inside of it to recognize the one who created it for love of her. The requital gives life to gratitude, to thanksgiving. It can be said that the requital maintains the conversation, the friendship, the correspondence between the giver and the one who receives the gift. Otherwise, everything remains broken. Now listen, my daughter, to another trait of our intense love toward man. In order to have this requital, in creating him we placed in him our will, operating, united with his own, so that just as our will did many works for love of him in the work of creation, in the same way, in his soul, possessing our divine will, by virtue of Wil, yet he might have equal strength and power to give us the requital wanted by us. Our fiat, acting in creation and acting in the creature, was to engage the human will, so as to make use of all its acts, small and great, to form the just requital of all its works done in creation. More so, since it knew the number, the variety, the beauty, the weight of all its works. In the operating creature it was not to be without operating with the same multiplicity, sumptuousness, and beauty as it had operated in the universe, and therefore requite its external works, as well as its internal works done in the depth of the soul. The divine will was to make use of the human will as the material in its hands in order to continue its creation. Here then, by rejecting our will, man caused its operating life to cease in his acts, of which it could make use in order to create, and to transform them into heavens, into stars, into suns, into seas. He hampered our work, he stopped it, he turned our sweet harmonies upside down, the dear requitals which only by virtue of our will could exist. We could do anything in him if our will had its operating life in him. Here then, our cares, our sighs, the insistences, our sorrows, that the human ground might become our field of action in which our will would have full freedom to do what it wants. And do not think that only the Supreme Being wants the requital in his works. For the creature also, the first purpose in her works is the requital. If it is there, or if at least she hopes for it, she has hands and feet in order to move, mouth to speak, strength to sacrifice herself, time in order to operate. But if there is no requital, it seems to her that she has neither hands, nor feet, nor mouth, nor strength, nor time. She feels life dying in her for that work. It might seem that the requital is nothing, but it is not true. On the contrary, it is the beginning and the life of each work. Therefore, the requital is a need of my love, and it makes me continue the work of creation.
After this, I continued my abandonment in the divine fiat, and a crowd of thoughts, doubts, and difficulties arose in my mind. And my celestial teacher added,
My daughter, my will has the virtue of making the centralization of the whole human being in one single act. If it operates with its unitive virtue, it centralizes in the creature the thoughts, the heart, the steps, and everything, in such a way that the creature feels that it is not only the work, but that the whole of her being is invested by its operating strength, feeling the empire of my will operating, and everything does one single thing. This unitive strength renders the creature dominating and ordered, because the first endowment that my fiat knows how to give is dominion of self and order, and then she takes its divine dominion and becomes the malleable matter in its hands that is suitable for its marvelous works. On the other hand, without my will, the creature does not even possess the unitive strength in her acts, and therefore she appears all scattered and without order, and hard matter that does not surrender to the forms which our will wants to give her.
Fiat.